Today we're going to be talking about proportions. Proportions are ratios that are equivalent to each other. So a quick way to check to see if you've got proportions is to check their cross products. And cross products, if they are equal, then your ratios are proportional. If the cross products are not equal, then your ratios are not proportional. Many people call this cross products the butterfly method. So what you're going to do is you are going to multiply across from each other. And so 0.8 times 0.7 gives you 0.56. And 1.4 times 0.4 is also 0.56. So you would say, yes, those are proportional. You've got a proportion. Check the next one. 20 times 4 is 80. 5 times 16 is also 80. So those are yes. Those two are proportions. 8 times 24 is 192, and 6 times 28 is 168. Now there, our cross products are not equivalent, so those two fractions are simply that, or those two ratios are just ratios. They're not proportions. And if we check the last two, 6/10 times 1 and 25 hundredths is 75 hundredths. And 2 times 25 hundredths is 0.5. So that's also a no. They're not proportional. Now, the next thing we want to do is sometimes we're going to have proportions where we already know they're proportional. Their cross products are going to end up being equal. We are just missing a side. So what you can still do is cross multiply, like we were doing for our cross products, and then we'll divide and solve for the variable. So I'm going to do 15 times 24, which gives me 360. And then I'll do 16 times n, and as we learned in our equation unit, that's 16n. And then 16 and n are multiplying. We multiplied those. So to solve for that, we do the inverse. We divide by 16. And 360 divided by 16 gives us n is equal to 22.5. And we could plug in the 22.5 and check that, and our cross products would be equivalent. Both cross products would then equal 360. What we'll be doing for the most part in 8th grade is we're going to be given a word problem, and we're going to have to solve a proportion. So a great method to use is to organize your work, pull out units that are the same, set up your proportions so that your same units are on your same level. So a quick method is to use the UPS check. We'll understand what's going on in the problem, we'll set up a proportion, we'll solve it, and then we'll cross multiply. Okay, so one of the things it says is a recipe serves 10 people and calls for 3 cups of flour. If you want to make the recipe for 15 people, how many cups of flour should we use? Okay, so I'm seeing here that I don't know, that I do know we're talking about people. And we're also talking about flour. So I'm going to set up a proportion. Typically, your first proportion or your first ratio is in the very first sentence. So I have 10 people over 3 cups. And then in the next sentence, it usually gives me one more unit. And in this case, it gives me people. Since I put people in the numerator, I'm going to put people in the numerator on the other side. I'm running out of room here, so I apologize for that. And then it's asking how many cups should you use for 15. So I don't know that. So the fast way to solve it is come down here and use 10 over 3 equals 15 over C for cups. And like we just learned, we'll cross multiply. 10 times C is 10C. 3 times 15 is 45. And then we'll divide both sides by 10. So C is equal to 4.5. In other words, I want to check to make sure that I answered my question. How many cups should I use? I should use 4.5 cups. So to check, all I'll do is cross multiply. 10 over 3 equals 15 over 4.5. And when I multiply both of those, I get 45. So my cross products are correct and my proportion is correct.